Now, Western Cape Premier Alan Winde is calling for an investigation into links between the South African Police Service and top gangsters in the province. This comes after a Western Cape High Court judge stated that there's evidence that gang members have infiltrated the top management structures of the police. Our reporter Ayesha Ismail has been tracking this story and joins us now live on Today this afternoon. Good afternoon, Ayesha. Thank you very much for your time. There's been a major outcry about a judgment by a Western Cape High Court judge alluding to police and gangs working together.
That is correct, Dan, and I did have an opportunity to speak to the Premier of the Western Cape, Alan Winde, this morning, and he said the minute he became aware of that judgment, he immediately contacted the Western Cape Police Ombuds and asked him to institute an investigation. I also had an opportunity to speak to the MEC for Community Safety and Police Oversight, and that's Regan Allen, and he said that he had already spoken to IPID to conduct an investigation. But let's listen to what the Premier had to say to me earlier today.
Obviously, we need to get to the bottom of this. We need to get to really have a full investigation into the depth, the breadth. I mean, this is how our murders are driven in our province, how our children are held captive by drugs, and it's run by the gangsters, the extortion. It is the thing that we all face every single day of our lives, and now you see the police are captured. So I've asked our Ombudsman, General Reddy, we've asked for 2 weeks. Can he put together an investigation to give me the basis of a process and a mechanism to make decisions? What do I need to do? Do I call for a full commission of inquiry? That's within my powers, within the Constitution and the powers in the province to do so. What is it that I can do? And so I've called for that investigation, and hopefully within the next 14 days I'll have the outcome of that investigation.
I wonder, Ayesha, what all of this would mean for the affected communities. I mean, those where gang violence is an everyday occurrence in the Western Cape.
Well, Dan, if you speak to people, and especially the ones on the Cape Flats who are exposed to gang violence almost on a daily basis, they will tell you that they've been saying this for years, for decades, that they believe that gangs and police have been colluding and nobody has been listening to them. But I'm now joined by a crime expert and who is going to talk about, the way forward. We now have this information based on the judgment by Western Cape High Court Judge Daniel Tulare, and this also dates back to a case that started in 2016. And just for some context, Judge Tulare was hearing this murder trial and denied these two alleged gangsters bail, and it was during that session where he was denying bail that this information about collusion between the police and top gangsters came out, and where Judge Tulare also says it's not only happening at the lowest level, but also at the highest level. Mr. Gastro, you have been involved in security and also you know a lot about how gangs operate, about policing. What do we do with this information that we now have? Would a commission of inquiry by Premier Alan Winde have any significance to the problem that we're facing?
Well, I'm very pleased that the judge made those comments about corruption in the police, and that he commented about the seriousness of that. A lot of newspapers, research reports have referred to it in the past. There's nothing new. But this one hopefully will be taken more seriously, and it should lead to a thorough investigation. Now, the issue of police corruption or corruption in the police is not something which is peculiar to the Western Cape. It's something which you find across South Africa, and therefore it would be a bit odd to have a commission of inquiry which focuses on a particular case, on only one particular geographical area. I think there should be an exploration as to whether a commission of inquiry for the entire country is not something we need. We need to be aware, though, that the corruption in the police is something which is taking place by components within the police. Very senior, some of them, but also particularly at lower levels. We must not conflate that and put the entire police service, the entire SAPS, under the spotlight, because there are obviously some people, a lot of them who do their work. But corruption has been a factor which has undermined the public confidence, which has led to poor results in the courts, which is holding the entire recovery and move towards more effective law enforcement, holding them back. So an inquiry is necessary, and a thorough investigation of this particular case should be held.
And this judgment comes at a time where the police already suffer from a credibility deficit.
The police certainly have a credibility deficit in many areas. We know that there are excellent police investigators. A few days ago, Mr. Koko from Eskom appeared in court. Now, that's an investigation which was highly complex, so we must be careful not to put everything into the same basket. But there are many police officers in the Western Cape, we know that for a fact, who are part of a corrupt police, who make dockets disappear, who warn witnesses from not giving evidence, who intimidate witnesses, who in short-circuit the criminal justice system, and that serves organized crime. They get more money, and therefore they can again corrupt more individuals relating to court cases. So it's a vicious circle which is taking place, which needs to be broken. The public will need a credible investigation for them to regain some confidence, and I think the police should fully cooperate. It needs to be transparent and credible.
Peter Gastro, thank you so much for your time. And I also need to just add that the South African Police Service here in the Western Cape, I did speak to them, and I believe that the matter, the judgment, is now being studied by the SAPS legal services.